Hey guys, welcome back to True Crime Time ASMR. I'm Nicole. Thank you so much to everyone who has tuned in to this video. I truly appreciate you. And if you're new here and you enjoy whispered true crime, please consider subscribing to the channel. I post 2 times a week, on Monday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I recommend using headphones if you would like to hear the gentle mic brushing. Now, before we get to tonight's case, please make sure that you are subscribed. And please leave it a like if you don't mind. Thank you very much. Okay, so tonight we are traveling on down to Florida. Shout out to all my friends in Florida. I know we keep visiting you guys a lot, but what can I say? So, this case took place in 2020 in a town called Winter Park, which is a suburb of Orlando. This is the case of Sarah Boone and George Torres. Now his name is spelled like I would call him Jorge, but I hear people calling him George, so that's what I'm gonna say. I hope that that is correct. So, at the time of this crime, both of them were 42 years old. Okay, so I'm gonna give you whatever background information I have, which is very minimal. Sarah was originally from Orlando. She was married and divorced. She had one child. I do not know the child's age. It seems as if she did not live with the child. He could be an adult by now, for all I know. Okay. And her ex-husband was living around the same area as her at the time of the crime, and she was still in touch with him. Now, George Torres was originally from Philadelphia. He had worked at one time at Ace Hardware, and he was divorced with 3 children, who also do not seem to reside with him. Okay, that's all the background I have, unfortunately. But the two of them met in the year 2017 in the Orlando area. And after a few months, they got into a serious relationship and moved in together in Winter Park, Florida. Neighbors would always say that they were very noisy. They were almost always drunk, and police were often called to their home. So it seems as if both of them had a drinking problem. I can't say that 100%, it seems like that is true. Okay. Now, their relationship was unstable and tumultuous from the start, but yet they were drawn to each other for one reason or another. In July of 2018, the police were called to their home. They had had an argument which had escalated into violence, and they both wound up being charged with battery. According to Sarah, they had gone together to a bar, and she had been talking to another man. When she got home, George had dragged her upstairs and kicked her in the eye. According to George, he was walking up the stairs when she grabbed his throat and started squeezing it. He felt that she was going to strangle him to death, and he kicked her in the face, basically, and that is how that all went down. According to the arrest affidavit, Torres had red marking and abrasions on his neck that were consistent with strangulation. Sarah's right eye was visibly swollen and bruised. However, they both refused medical treatment. They refused to sign dating violence paperwork or press charges against each other. Torres was charged with battery, while Boone was charged for aggravated battery with strangulation. But ultimately, the case was dropped. In June of 2019, there was another domestic incident. The police were called to their house, and Sarah explained that George had become violent towards her after she had spoken to another man. Now, according to her, he had hit her on her head, face, legs, and arms. When she begged him to stop, he threatened, quote, "You're going to die," end quote. Sarah had a red lump on the side of her face and scratches on her neck. She refused medical treatment, but she filled out a domestic violence worksheet, and she was willing to testify against George this time. Now, according to George, he denied hitting her, and he said he was not sure where the scratches had come from. He was arrested for battery and booked into jail. he never called the police. Ultimately, the charges in this case were dropped. So that brings us up to February 24th of 2020. And it was around 1 o'clock in the afternoon when Sarah called 911, and she said that her boyfriend was unresponsive. So they came down there within a few minutes, and they found that he had been in a suitcase in the living room. And unfortunately, he had died from positional asphyxiation. So he suffocated inside of a suitcase. He also had a laceration near his lip and bruising around his eyes. She told the police on the scene that he was in the suitcase because they had been playing hide and seek. She said that they had not been drinking and they had not been fighting. Now, a more detailed explanation would come out once she went down to the police station. So, they asked if they could take a look at her phone, and she willingly handed it over to them. Now, they found on her phone 2 videos of the night before while he was in the suitcase. And here is what was on those videos. The first video started at 11:12 p.m. and lasted for 2 minutes. During this time, you could hear the sound of George screaming from inside the suitcase. He was screaming out her name, Sarah, Sarah, Sarah. And you can see the suitcase shaking. You could see that there was somebody in there moving around, trying to get free. Okay. So he is saying, quote, "I can't effing breathe, seriously." And she said, quote, "For everything you've done to me, F you." Then he continued to say he couldn't breathe and called her name. And she said, "Yeah, that's what you do when you choke me. That's on you. Oh, that's what I feel like when you cheat on me. You should probably shut the F up." Then there was a second video, which started at 11:23 and lasted for 22 seconds. And you still, now the suitcase is in a different position, whether he was able to knock it over or what, but it's in a different position now, a couple feet further from where it started, or from where it was in the other video. And he continues to yell her name and ask to be let out. So the police watched those videos, and then they spoke to Sarah. And here's what she said. Well, regarding the videos, she admitted that it did not look good, but she insisted that she didn't even remember what was on the videos. And I believe her, because if she did, she would not have handed that phone over so easily. And she said that it was playful banter, that she was not serious. She and seek. We all know that that's not how you play hide and seek, but whatever. Maybe they had abandoned that idea. So she helped him into the suitcase and she zipped him up. She claims that she left enough room for 2 fingers to stick out. His 2 fingers could stick out of the zipper. And she assumed he could get out. And after a little while, she went to bed, assuming that he was going to come out and go to bed. Then she woke up at 11 a.m. and he wasn't in bed, but she assumed he was downstairs. So she stayed in bed a while. And around 11:30, she got up. She didn't see him anywhere. And it dawned on her that he might still be in the suitcase. And he was. She opened it up, and he was unresponsive. And she called her ex-husband. And he's the one who said, "Call 911. I believe he came over as well. So that was the situation. She said she had no intention of harming him at all. Now, an additional piece of information that the neighbors shared with the police was that this neighbor had heard a loud crash around the time that this whole thing had happened, the night before. Sounded like something or someone fell down the stairs. Like a loud crash is how they explained it. So, that makes us wonder if he was in the suitcase originally upstairs, because don't forget, she hid in the upstairs shower. So, perhaps that's also where the suitcase was, and that is where he got in the suitcase, and then maybe she pushed or dragged the suitcase to the staircase and pushed it down the stairs. Maybe, we don't know, but that sounds like a possibility, because he did have a bruise on his eye and some cuts. So, that could explain it. Falling down the stairs in a suitcase. And then when she followed the suitcase downstairs and took the video, the videos, her explanation of the bruising and all on his face was that he had fallen off a bike recently, and she said the scratching was from sex. Okay. But regardless, she was charged with second-degree murder, and she remained in custody. She was assigned a public defense lawyer, and things did not work out too well between them, because in April of 2022, he filed a petition to withdraw as her attorney, and at that time she claimed she had no idea why he was doing that. She didn't think anything, was going on wrong between them. But according to him, their relationship was adversarial. So she got a new lawyer. And in March of 2023, she wrote a letter to the lawyer stating how calls. She was even getting other people to call him, and he was saying that she could not attend her pre-trial hearings, and that is supposed to be her right. And why are, like, TV reporters and YouTubers allowed to go to her trial, but she can't? So, and that letter was forwarded to the judge as well, but doesn't look like anything has come of it. Seems that he will still be her lawyer at this point, but her trial is scheduled for July of 2023. And that is the case. What do you think? I will tell you some of my thoughts. So the question is, did she mean for this to happen? Okay, that's probably the main question. I don't think she planned it in advance. I believe that when she first got him into the bag, she didn't have it in mind to harm him. She was probably goofing around with him. They were both drinking. And then maybe it kind of dawned on her once he got into the bag that she just kind of wanted to make him suffer, you know? Clearly, they had a violent relationship, you know? And he had assaulted her many times. Clearly, she had also assaulted him, but still, you know, she was angry with the way he had treated her. It seems like she wanted him to pay. Do I think that she wanted him to die? I don't think so. You know, I don't know, but I don't think so. I get the feeling she didn't realize that he was gonna die from this. I mean, I don't know that she's so heartbroken at this point that he did die. I don't know. But I don't feel like it was her intention. But that doesn't matter. I mean, she still did it. What she intended or not. He died. And she sat there and she clearly listened to him tell her that he couldn't breathe. And he was begging for her to let him out, and she didn't do it. And the fact that she zipped him up in there, you know, she's gonna get something, whether it's gonna be second-degree murder, as you know, like she's charged, or some similar charge, you know, remains to be seen. Her lawyer is supposedly gonna go with the battered wife defense. You know, they're not married, but still using the battered wife defense. I guess what he is going to try to say is that her psychological state at the time was that of a battered woman. You know, that she wasn't thinking clearly. She had suffered so much abuse that this is what it came down to. I assume that is what he is going to try to impress upon the jury. But we will have to wait until July to hear what he actually says. I don't think she's gonna